A lot of unemployment and very divergent incomes, and that led to the happiness indicator to fall, and only in the last few years it picked up again.
At this point I have a specific question for you. It was set out by José Luis Pastoriza, who works in a Spanish NGO, and he is a member of the Association of Grant Holders of Fundación Barrié. He wants to ask you the following question. As a development practitioner working in an NGO, I usually hear the following stereotype from people who visit poor countries. The stereotype states, people living in poor countries are really poor and deprived. However, they seem to be happier than us who enjoy more wealth. José Luis said that he's really concerned because global and national policies to get people out from extreme poverty risk leading poor people to a sadder existence. Indeed, he said, if the stereotype is true, the eradication of poverty reduces the opportunities of happiness available to people. So, the two questions are poor people actually happier? And the other one is, are governments and civil society organizations legitimized to fight global poverty because it makes a strong contribution to a more happy mankind?
I think this gentleman has excellent insights, because it's exactly what happiness research finds. Poor people are not happy. They might look like that, but they are not. All the data we have, and now we have a lot of data. For instance, the last international Gallup poll asked 108,000 people all over the world, and a clear result is that people in poor countries are much less happy, clearly less happy, than those in richer countries. And when you look within a country, the poor people are much less happy than the rich people. The only thing which one can say is that when income is quite high, the contribution to happiness reaches a limit. It doesn't rise at the same speed. But poor people are unhappy, and I think a very simple explanation is that poor people have to fight the whole day with money. They have so little, they are concerned all the day with money. While if one has a somewhat better income, one has more freedom. One can choose better. While poor people must be concerned all the time about financial aspects, and that is terrible.
And would you say that globalization and technological advances in communication will change in the short term the happiness map of the world?
Yes, because people now compare themselves much more than they did before. I know in Bhutan they didn't have any television, so they didn't know that they are a poor country, and so were relatively satisfied with their lives. But now they have TV and they see how rich other people in other nations are, and that changed quite a lot, and not necessarily making people more happy, because they always see that there are some countries where on average people are even richer. And that depresses, of course, the feeling of happiness.
Just for finishing, Professor, let me ask you something about the future of the disciplines. Which are the main issues that the economic, the happiness research should address?
The main features. I mentioned already one, namely unemployment. I think that is a real problem we have, and we must have more flexibility, that perhaps we make a less strict differentiation between times when you are at work and times you are at leisure. It's perhaps a more flexible way. And also with respect to when people leave work probably at age 65 also in Spain. You know, they work and then all of a sudden they are thrown out. I think that's not a good way. It should be much more flexible. Some people should be able to stop work earlier, those who have worked manually in a hard way, and others should be allowed to work longer, which would be good to cope with the problems we know that we will have them in the future, namely to finance the old age pension. Mm-hmm. That is an issue which is not sufficiently considered. And that is another issue which we could look at from the point of view of happiness research. How happy are old people? And there's a very good and I think a very happy result, namely that older people get happier. The young are very happy because they think they can do everything, achieve everything, but then they realize it's not so easy, so happiness goes down, but afterwards people get more, think more about the possibilities and do not expect so much anymore, and then happiness goes upward again. And I think that is a nice thing when the older members of the society are not the unhappy ones, but rather the happy ones.
Okay, Professor, it was a pleasure having you here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Very nice questions. Thank you.